It's the radio guy, Mike Prince. Welcome to another episode of the Sunday Night Live Mike Prince edition here on the Open Mic Broadcast Network. Of course, our daily mission is to come to you with news that you can use. We got a special guest for you on tonight. He serves as the head baseball coach at Texas Southern University, former head baseball coach at Prairie View A&M University, Houston Tillerson graduate, and just an all-around good guy. Mike Robertson will be our guest on tonight. We'll talk a little baseball and see what is in the hopper. He got a pretty good steal. We'll talk about that a little bit later on. And so much more to talk about. Big meeting tomorrow with the presidents of the Southwestern Athletic Conference. Conferences are steady falling like dominoes. Some are still fighting a good fight. We're going to see what's going to be and how soon we'll get there. Once again, good evening to each and every one of you. Hopefully that you all are doing well, staying out of harm's way, and just doing everything that you can to be a law-abiding citizen. How about that? Do the right thing. As what was that? Spike Lee, Do the Right Thing. You know, I've never seen that movie, Do the Right Thing. People look at me like I'm crazy. Man, dude, how could you have not ever seen Spike Lee's movie, Do the Right Thing? There are a lot of Spike Lee movies I did not see. I did see School Days, I think once or twice, but I just never did get into that. I guess I was always busy training or playing a game or something, and I just never saw time to really get into it. But that's neither here nor there. A lot going on right now. Huge meeting tomorrow between the presidents of the Southwestern Athletic Conference. A lot of people are speculating that it will be announced that suspension, cancellation, however you want to play on words, will come shortly after that, considering what has happened with the MEAC. The MEAC suspended their fall games, or fall events, I should say. And, of course, everybody's focused on football, but we do know that includes volleyball, cross country. So a lot of that going on. The inductees to the Prairie View class of 2021 Hall of Fame, or I should say 2020 Hall of Fame, is going to be pushed back. The inducting ceremony will be pushed back to 2021. Yeah, I got that right. I got a little crossed up and tongue-tied. But nonetheless, it is what it is with that. We've had 4 of the inductees of this year's deal on the show at one point or another here at the Open Mic Broadcast Network. Victor Pegram, old classmate of mine, Coach Glenn White from bowling, Matthew Teague, of course, of football, and our guest tonight, who's been a friend of the program, and that is none other than Mike Robertson. So Mike Rob will be our guest. We'll talk some baseball. We'll talk Hall of Fame. We'll talk about, of course, the addition of 2 great baseball programs. Everybody's hyped up about the football side of things and what FAMU and Bethune-Cookman are going to be bringing to the gridiron. But, man, if you keep up with the diamond play, you have got to be excited. You've got to be ready to amp the game up, the ante up. Hey, it's time to get this thing going. It's time to do what it needs to do and all those kind of things. So it's going to be very interesting to see how Mike is going to spin off of that. And just a lot of good baseball whenever we can get sports back. Of course, there's a big dilemma and tug of war on when the kids should come back and if they should come back. And, you know, half will do this and half will do that. And it's still a juggling act right now. And in the midst of all that, I failed to mention that the new AD is in town, Dr. Donald Reed, the newest addition to the PVAMU staff in the role of athletic director, came by Buffalo University. New York City by way of Port Arthur, Texas. And he's going to have some work to do, and hopefully he'll get the necessary support to get it done. And as I say, a journey ahead. And speaking of the journey, we do feature the journey right here on Wednesdays at the Open Mic Broadcast Network. Last week, we heard from Dr. Kiki Barnes. And every time I hear the name Kiki, I want to say Kiki Sheard, or though that's a gospel singer, and then Kiki Shepherd from the Apollo Night, but Kiki Barnes, and very insightful, shot a little fire at old PV, but I understand it in the spirit of competition, and always have confidence to bet on yourself. And speaking of betting on ourselves, we're going to take us a break, and we'll get our guests lined up for tonight. Mike Robertson of the Texas Southern Tigers will be on the line with us, so keep it right where you got it, and we'll be right back. You're listening to The Mike Prince Show, Sunday Night Live on the Open Mic Broadcast Network.
You want answers? I think I'm entitled. You want answers? I want the truth! You can't handle the truth! I have a greater responsibility than you can possibly fathom. You don't want the truth because deep down in places you don't talk about at parties, you want me on that wall. You need me on that wall.
Join us for a daily episode of The Mike Prince Show right here at the Open Mic Broadcast Network.
Be the one with courage to fight child abuse.
All Texans must find the courage to fight child abuse.
Learn the signs and symptoms and report suspected abuse to appropriate authorities.
Learn and know these warning signs.
A child who undergoes changes in behavior, appetite, or routine.
Watch for unexplained injuries, a change in academic performance, or loss of interest by a child in regular activities.
Trust your instincts. If you suspect something, do something.
If you believe a child is in an abusive situation, please call the Texas Abuse Hotline at 1-800-252-5400.
Be the one with courage. To find your local Children's Advocacy Center, visit onewithcourage.org.
On behalf of children, thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Hello, I'm Dr. Mike Prince, the pastor of the Temple of Refuge Ministries located in Prairie View, Texas. I am extending a personal invitation to you to come and worship with us Sunday mornings, 10 a.m. Central Standard Time. Simply dial 857-777-0000 and join us for our morning worship. In the event that you miss us live, you can always go to our on-demand center at 720-721-1558 to listen to our latest sermons and Bible studies. Temple of Refuge Ministries, where we're building the kingdom, one soul at a time. Numbers to dial again for our live sermons, 857-777-0000, and on demand, 720-721-1558. Be blessed. We'd like to recognize sponsors. Attorney Lee Van Richardson, located at 1047 Austin Street in Hempstead, Texas. Their phone number is 979-826-8008. Diva Skin Conditioner, located at divafeet.com, D-I-V-A-H feet.com. Their phone number, 903-270-0026. Prairie View Athletic Club, serving student athletes since 1986. Their phone number is 936-857-5817. Temple of Refuge Ministries, located in Prairie View, Texas, at 45372 Old Highway 290. Brazos Valley Schools Credit Union, several locations to serve you. Katy, Rosenberg, Brenham, Bryan, College Station, and Waller, Texas. Their phone numbers, toll free, 855-391-2149. If you or your business would like to be a part of the sponsorship team here at the Open Mic Broadcast Network, contact us at 832-213-8824.
And welcome back to the Sunday Night Live edition. You hear that music in the background. You know what that means. We hadn't had much of it, but it's still my favorite pastime. It's baseball. Take me out to the ball game. And our guest, currently the head man at the Texas Southern Tigers, did his thing at Prairie View, Houston Tillerson grad, and Prairie View's class of 2020 Hall of Fame inductee, head coach Mike Robertson. How you doing tonight, Coach?
I'm doing good, Mike. Thank you for having me on your show.
Oh, man, thank you for making yourself available, and congratulations, man.
Man, thank you. I appreciate that. I want to say this, though, in capturing the Hall of Fame honor at Prairie View, I would be remorse if I didn't thank a couple of people who I think that also garner recognition for, this Hall of Fame honor. One is Dr. McClellan, because he gave me an opportunity back in 2002 to take over that program and gave me all the support that I needed. Myself, my coaching staff, my assistant coaches, some Coach Cullivan, Coach Shotwell, Coach Carter, even my little SID guy at the time, Keith Roy. The mayor of Prairie View helped us, Frank Jackson, and, to my players, my parents, administrators, the maintenance guys. The support there was so surreal. It's unbelievable. Whenever I think about those 6 years at Prairie View, what really sticks out to me is the support that we had during my tenure there. And I also, don't let me forget about those great alumni at Prairie View A&M University. So that's what really, when I think about the success that we had, I think about all the support that everybody lended to us over that whole Prairie View community.
Yes, sir. It is a very close-knit community. You left a lasting impression, the second most wins in the baseball history of Prairie View A&M University. And to be quite honest, that probably was due because of the longevity in which old Tank was there, but he did his thing as well. I had the fortunes of playing underneath him. You inherited a program that's, let's be honest, was beyond life support. It was really, really at a low state. You're coming fresh off a state championship from Forest Brook. What enticed you to want to be able to get your feet wet at Prairie View?
Well, actually, I didn't want to. Somebody asked me, probably back at, I'll never forget this. Somebody asked me, and I think year 2000, when we had that program going at Forestburg High School, they say, "Hey, Coach, what you think about becoming the head coach at Prairie View TSU?" And I'm going to be honest with you. I told them, I said, those are two places I would never be the head coach at. Okay.
Never say never.
So anyway, because of Ryan McGinty, it was Ryan McGinty. He was following our program in 2002 when we made that great state run. And Ryan passed my name over to Charles and said, "Hey, I got a guy I think you need to look at and consider." And from then on, the guy who was the mediator was Doc Mays. Doc was the one calling me and getting information about from Charles to give to me. And so that really what connected us. And so obviously I was looking for a different challenge, and I felt like that would provide me that challenge that I needed. Back then we were very young and we were aggressive and we were risk takers, myself and my coaching staff and stuff. And I believed in my ability and Charles believed in me, and it turned out to be a really good fit. But most of all, we was able to connect the dots because Charles made it work. He gave me everything that I could have asked for as taking over that program, being that I think they were 3-48 the year before. And so we got that program turned around really fast. I think, by the second year, we turned it around. The first year, we wasn't very, very good. But one thing about that team I do remember, I think we were 10-45 or something. But those kids play really, really, really hard. And so they set the tone for next year's team, who I think probably went 30-26. And from then on, the rest was history. Of course, we played in 4 straight championships, back-to-back champions, 2006, 2007. and then Black College Baseball champion in 2006.
Right.
And, we had some really good players, Richard, White, Lester, Paul Johnson. And, the biggest name of them all is Randall Taylor. We got to get Randall Taylor in that at Prairie View Hall of Fame, because that kid did something that, we probably won't see in our lifetime. He won 30 ball games over 4 years, and he started every conference game for 4 years. And he also started every first game in the SWAC tournament. And he also started every championship that we played in during 4 years while I was at Prairie View.
Yeah,
that
is
was
a phenom.
Taylor.
That's phenom attributes right there. And
consistency.
We have to work on that. And I'm glad you brought up the word consistency. Baseball, what to me makes baseball the sexiest sport on the planet is because you can't be a one-hit wonder. It's about consistency. It's about staying on the grind. It's about keeping your head on the swivel, although that's a football terminology that really separates a winner from a champion. And you have a lot of good ball players, but they don't put in that extra effort and I say effort, but that time when the coaches are away and everybody want to go party, but they go say, I'm going to go hit off the tee. I'm going to go do some other drills that's going to enhance my game. I'm going to even run some bases so I can get a little bit faster on time, because it's not about how fast you run the bases, it's how well you run the bases that get you from A to B.
Yeah, absolutely. Of course, we can't do some of the things that, we did 19 years ago at Prairie View, but you're exactly right. It was all about hard work and dedication. We made sure that we had a solid commitment from all of our student athletes, and we eventually got them to buy in really quick to what we were doing. It wasn't easy by no stretch of the imagination. It was easy, but we found a good system. We put a good system in place for what we had to work with at the time at Prairie View. And again, a lot of it was a great support, but also along the line, you got to have some players on the bus. And, one key member, I remember, we were right there on the threshold in 2005, and we lost to Southern, and we go into that Sunday championship. They had to beat us twice. But, of course, Southern was the king of the crop back then of the SWAC. I think they probably had won more championships in a row than anybody in the history of the SWAC. And they were really good. We're talking about, probably a year after Ricky Weeks left. But little old Prairie View snuck up on them, and we found ourselves in the championship bracket undefeated. Southern had to beat us twice. I'd never forget. We played a 15-inning ball game back then in Birmingham, and Southern was able to beat us the next morning. We didn't finish that championship until the next morning. So that's how committed we was. But the one person that set us apart the next year, when we signed Mike Richard, our shortstop, then I say that's it, because we had everything else, So that was kind of the piece that we needed, that great play in the middle of the field from Richard. And, of course, we added Calvin Lester, and we had Brandon Whitney behind the plate, Paul Johnson at second base. And one of the best third basemen, I think, probably I know the history of Prairie View was Wilford White, because that kid really, defense was his game.
Right, he had a vacuum. He had a vacuum.
Yeah, so we had some really good kids, some great athletes on the field, and we could compete against anybody. In 2006 and 2017, not only did they win back-to-back Western Division titles and back-to-back SWAC championship titles, you have to go back. If people remember, we played in Rice Regional in 2006 and 2007.
Right.
And those were two very, very close ball games with, Rice was number one in the country in 2006, and I think they was in the top 5 in 2007. And so both of those games were decided very late. I think like the first one was they beat us in the 9th inning. We were tied.
Come clean, Mike. Since you're bringing up history, come clean now. We couldn't keep it close because we knew we were gonna get squoze. So tell the truth, shame the devil.
Yeah. I don't want. Yeah. So I don't want to go back to the infamous call, but you
the one brought it up, man. I was all right until you brought that up, but that's okay. That's okay.
The infamous call. Yeah, but that's That's part of the game.
Right.
You still got to beat them with the bat.
Because
because you know that going in. You know it's going to happen going in.
Right.
So
right.
If you know what's going to happen, then you can't complain about it.
Absolutely.
And I always try to prepare our kids for those moments like that, and to try to teach them to stay in the moment, keep your composure, and what you're going to have to do to win in an environment like that and plan against all those adversities. And so, we learn from it, that's for sure.
We're talking live right now with Mike Robertson, and those who coming in, this is not back to 2006. We just kind of reminiscing for a moment before we transfer over. And you spoke, Mike, about your system. So you now get on the Pony Express and you head east toward Texas Southern, and you take your system with you. Before we talk about life on Texas Southern, what is the Mike Robertson system?
It's actually, we made some changes. We tried to bring that system into Texas Southern that we had at Prairie View, but actually it didn't work. It didn't work because of all the dynamics that we were faced with. We had even more adversity when I first got into Texas Southern, far more than at Prairie View. One was not having your own home field. Mm-hmm. And then number two, the biggest one is not having the support that I had when I got to Prairie View. Mm-hmm. So it took a while for us to get any type of support other than from Doc. Doc McClellan, he's always supported my program. But, it is what it is. When I first got to TSU, it probably was because, the guy who place I took, Candy Robertson, Candy was a legend at Texas Southern. And actually, Candy beat us in that 2008 championship when I was at Prairie View. Mm-hmm. So that was his swan song. I always say Candy won that one because that was his last year, coaching. So, it was inevitable that it happened in the fashion that it happened in because we probably was 10 runs better than them on that Sunday, but they ended up walking away with the title. So, with that being said, we actually end up changing everything in our system probably around, I want to say after the 7th season, because what we were doing, it just wasn't working, and we couldn't get the recruits that we needed in. And so all the other things that was going on, the dynamics of, the academics, the APR system and all that. So we had to somewhat recreate. We found something that worked probably around 2014, 2015, and we finally put everything together. We've been sticking to that system ever since, and we've been going out trying to find kids to play in that system. And we haven't always been successful with our recruits that we've been trying to get in, but the recruits that we have brought in, they have bought in, and they've just worked well enough for us to maintain our consistency.
When you talk about that, it takes a special kid, to play D1 ball, first of all, and then to be coming in and accepting what they see right in front of them, walking into a situation with their eyes wide open. And I wanted to talk about this because I've always been impressed with not only what you've been able to do, but Coach Barker, your softball counterpart. He's got 10 consecutive Western titles, and neither you guys have a home field. How burdensome can that be? And I know it's a system and you get used to it after a while and you can't complain about it because you don't have it and you have to adjust. But it can be pretty daunting when you just sit back and go like, man, I don't have a field.
Yeah, it's one of the most difficult adversity that you'll face, along with some other facilities that we're trying to put in place so that we can, consistently get the recruits that we're trying to get in there. But you said it most, in talking about, Coach Barker, he's a consummate professional, and Barker is really good on the social aspect of things. He come out of the banking business, big time loan officer and stuff, and just a really nice guy, but also a very smart guy. He's one of my best friends, and, we grew up playing for his dad and stuff, but Barker is very smart. And, his kids really love him and they trust him because he's a very good person. He's a better person than he is a softball coach. And he's one of the best softball coaches. So, with that being said, we try to teach our kids don't complain about, what we don't have, let's focus on what we have and let's go with it. Let's see what we can do with it. And we just try to stay, focus on the grind, the day-to-day operations of running the softball program without your own facilities and running a baseball program without your own facilities. So we kind of bounce things off each other a lot in our offices. We'll go out to lunch. We'll end up at the end of the day talking in the offices and stuff after everybody's gone. And, we make it work, but hats off to him too, because you're exactly right. He's done one heck of a job as the softball coach there at Texas Southern.
Yes, sir. Now, when it comes back to the recruiting factor, you got a kid hyped up, and they come and they visit, and they say, well, where are the baseball facilities, coach? And you're like, well, they're not on campus, but it's a nice looking field, and we can drive you by that on your way by the airport by the chance if you're going by a hobby.
Yeah.
But when you really look at it and understand it, you have to have a type of player that's hungry to play. And is it safe to assume that from time to time you might even go get a kid that has a chip on his shoulder and say, hey, we can put their nose in it if you come on and be with us?
A little bit of everything. A little bit of everything that you can imagine has brought some kids to us that we thought that we really didn't recruit. They just didn't have nowhere to play because people pass up on them. And I'm talking about some places where we've had some kids that played in our program. I can't rattle off all of them name. I'm not going to do that and take up half your show. That really should have had an opportunity to play at, some Power 5 schools and some mid-majors and stuff, but they pass up on them. So you're exactly right. That became our recruiting tool. Hey, come in here and, see what you can do. We can offer you an opportunity and show those guys what you can do because we're playing against those teams, year in and year out. But back to, the facilities. Actually, the facilities are our home field, even though it's off campus. It's a facility where we feel that we can develop our kids. They've done a lot of work over there at our home field at McGregor Park. I don't know if you looked at it recently, but that field, it's really grown. And the maintenance guys, the city of Houston have, put a lot, and also ourselves, Texas Southern, we put a lot of resources into that field. So, we're feeling good about the direction that it's going in, and it's starting to become a recruiting tool for us because of the resources that we've been able to put in because of our success that we've had on the field. So we're starting to get the type of support that we need so that we can start being a viable opponent in the regional tournament, because that's what we're really trying to do, Mike. We're trying to get through a regional and figure it out in super regional and do something that nobody has ever done before and making that trip to the College World Series.
Absolutely. And that is the echoes of some of your counterparts within the conference, in particular of Carrick Jackson. You two have had some early battles with his tenure in the conference, and guys are striving forward. Now, I'm going to get to our new additions in just a second, but you hit on something that was very key. You get guys that reach out to you, and it's no secret that of late, because I'm assuming of the connection that you've had with University of Texas, you landed a pretty big fish, man, to want to don on the maroon and gray. Without going into too many details, how did that even develop? And congratulations on snapping Mr. Cam Fields.
Yeah, you know what? Over the last 2 weeks, I know for one, my wife asked me, she said, how did y'all end up getting that kid? I said, you know what? I don't even remember who called me. I can't even remember who called me about the kid. And I almost want to tell you he recruited us, but somebody did call me, but I know it wasn't a member of my coaching staff. It wasn't a normal call or something. I think somebody just texted me and say, hey, Cam Field is considering coming to Texas Southern. And so, I ended up finding his number. I asked my assistant coach to get hold of him, find his number, and then I think I ended up texting him, and then, we brought him down where we talked to him, and, that kid was already bought in and committed before, we had to do a lot of other stuff that we normally have to do. And, of course, because of the pandemic, we're not able to, do our normal regime and stuff. So, I think along the way, like you said earlier, Mike, we played them back in 2017. I remember Cameron starting that ball game for Texas when we played him at Constellation Field in Sugar Land. And then also we had a look at him too in 2018 when we played in Texas Regional in Austin. So he didn't pitch for him that day, but I tell you what, he had the best body on the field and the best makeup that you want to see in a collegiate ball player. And he's a really good pitcher, and besides that, he's an even better person. So, we're happy to have Cameron in our program, and by far, he's my biggest recruit since I've been, in college baseball for 19 years.
Now, do you know if you guys were the only HBCU, and I just label it at that because that was the big buzz. Man, this guy is going to an HBCU program. How much of a feather in the cap is that? Do you know who you were bidding against to gain?
Oh yeah, for sure. Our top opponent in the Western Division, Mr. Kerry Jackson of Southern Jaguars. Yeah, he Southern was one of his school of choice, and then the other one was FAMU.
Wow.
It was FAMU. So when I looked at that situation, I say, man, whoever get this kid I really didn't want to see him go to Southern because I was like, Southern is already good enough. And Carrick is a very good head coach, and he runs a Stern program like ourselves at Texas Southern. And, he's trying to put stuff together where he can, do stuff in succession as far as, winning championships and stuff and not be a one-year wonder. But he does a really good job at recruiting, and he does a really good job of coming up with a game plan, on each and every night. So we didn't want to see him go to Southern. So I'm just glad that young man chose Texas Southern to be a good fit for him.
Absolutely. We're talking again with Coach Mike Robertson, head baseball coach of the Texas Southern Tigers, the maroon and gray, landing I guess we'll call him a big tiger. We won't call him a big fish. We'll call him, he went from a longhorn to a tiger, and things are looking good for the maroon and gray. Now, you brought up FAMU. I'm excited, Coach. I cannot lie about what FAMU and Bethune-Cookman are bringing baseball-wise to this conference. And I think it instantly brought a little bit more accreditation to baseball part of things. We know football is going to be football, but baseball in particular, tell us from your viewpoint what these two bring to the conference.
Well, Coach Shoup, at Florida A&M, he's a very organizational guy. He believes in organization. He believes in discipline. And he runs a really good program. And they have done really well since under his leadership there. So, I'm glad you happy because I'm not happy they coming in because, it was already tough enough with Southern, Grambling, Jackson State, and Alabama State. We got our hands full when we get, to May in the SWAC tournament. Those are some pretty good competition.
Yes, sir.
And then, of course, Bethune-Cookman, Coach Hernandez, he's a detail guy also, and he does a really good job with his program and his kids also. So, but as far as competition, I agree with you. It's going to make everybody better. And I think it's good for our fan base. I think it's good for our players. I know it's definitely good for our conference. Dr. McClellan, I want to say we headed in a direction that his vision was all along was a super conference. So that's kind of what I see in the long haul. But in the short term, for baseball, it's going to make everybody better. And, I can foresee us having a really, really good tournament, when those two ball clubs become part of the SWAC next year. Not this year, but the following season.
Right. Well, by the time we get together, it's going to be next year. Well, no, it'll be 22 when they come in at 2022. No, it'll be
21, 20.
Yeah, 21, 22. Well, the way things are shaping up with this corona, it's going to probably be the par anyway, but we won't even get into that part of it. When you look at the buzzword had been getting the reputation, the RPI ranking up within baseball, not playing certain type of programs. This kind of shaves it up a little bit because it's going to lessen the opportunity, or should, of playing some of those opponents that would make you somewhat cringe. Would you agree?
Yeah, but it has to be consistent throughout our conference. And so through our meetings and stuff that we've been able to hold, especially since Dr. McClellan has took over as commissioner of the SWAC, we've been envisioning these things and trying to kind of do what Texas Southern has been doing for 4 or 5 years, playing that really tough schedule. We need everybody in the SWAC to play that type of schedule for us to get an RPI like we need, so that one day, a school from the SWAC don't have to win the tournament to have a bid. That's what it's going to take for everybody not to play NAIA schools and schools that you're going to beat up on 30-1, because it really does you no any good. Okay. And then the other thing is, doing a lot with our home facilities, because a lot of time those schools that we're playing, they actually want to play us at home, but we have to be able to accommodate their fans, because the simple rationale behind that is they'll get more RPI points if they beat us on the road versus at home.
Got you. So we got to bring up the facilities and bring up the challenge as far as getting the programs up to
overall.
Speed. Okay.
Overall, everybody. Everybody.
Now here is, I guess what rattles my cage. And this is just Mike Prince. It has nothing to do with anything else, because it's about competition, right? Competition should bring out the best in us. I know that we talk about, we want to give the student athlete an experience of, having some fond memories, this, that, and the other. And I get all that, got the T-shirt to prove that too. But we had 8 going in with 10, and I always thought it should have been 6 because of the competition. Because to be honest, there was no difference between 7 through 10. It was not much difference, I should say. And with us having 2 more, does it make more sense now to invite 6, give the top 2 teams a bye or whatnot, and then do some type of divisional square off like that? Or do you see them keeping it at 8 or possibly expanding it to 10?
Yeah, I think we've been so focused on, before all this pandemic stuff started, we actually had a proposal in place where we would do interconference play. And so that's probably going to get tabled because of the pandemic, first of all. Okay, we hadn't even gotten to how we're going to handle the situation with the 2 new institutions, coming into the SWAC. So we hadn't even got to that yet. I think, for right now, Mike, I think, we've been meeting a lot as head coaches. At least in our conference, we've been actually meeting, more so with ourselves than with Dr. McClellan, because we trying to be proactive before they end up throwing something on us. But right now, we all know the focus is on the fall sports. They hadn't even talked much about a plan for the spring, but we're talking about some things that we need to do because we know it's going to be a budget cut. Everybody is taking a tremendous budget cut because of the pandemic.
We're talking right now with Coach Mike Robertson, Hall of Famer for Prairie View. A lot of people might not know he got his master's from Prairie View. He's a Houston-Tillerson Ram, but he got his master's from Prairie View, and now he's doing his thing at Texas Southern. Well, Coach, it's always, as you say, something going on.
Some pieces that Doc are getting from some of the schools from attending meetings and stuff, being on committees and stuff, he's bringing it back to us, and he's going to be experimenting with that. But I think at the top of the table is to try to bring more revenue to baseball, and so that's what I foresee. And I foresee that, that's going to put us in a better position to do something that nobody's ever done before. I see a Southwestern Athletic School or HBCU school making it to a super regional and also a College World Series. So those are some of the effects that's going to happen from all the decision making and stuff that's going to take place in the upcoming future.
Well, it's ironic that you said that, Coach, about the regionals, because I was thinking in my mind, I guess the new thing for SWAC baseball will be the race to the regionals. Who will get there first to advance? And I'm going to wish you luck. And it's going to only be against one school. I ain't going to wish you too much luck on. But, never take it personal, right, Coach?
Gotcha.
Look,
Won't take it personal.
Don't take it personal. One of the best movies of all time, man, Harlem Nights. I don't know what people were thinking about to think that was not a good movie, but that's a whole nother subject. Coach, I'm going to give you some closing thoughts and comments right now. The floor is all yours, sir.
Man, look, back to what we talked about earlier in the program, and what started this was that recognition of Hall of Fame at Prairie View A&M University. I want to thank all the people on the committee. I want to thank the community at Prairie View. Again, Mike, those 6 years at Prairie View were the best. I always tell people I didn't have one bad day at Prairie View A&M University. I appreciate all the support. So, thanks to all the relationships that I had from my assistant coaches, my parents, the ball players, even the maintenance guys. I remember all the fun we used to have. We're trying to, better the facilities there and stuff. So just some really good thoughts, go into my experience there at Prairie View A&M University. So I have a special place in my heart for Prairie View that will stay with me forever from that experience. So, that's what sticks out with me right now. And then the other thing is this, all the decisions that we'll make and going, forward with what we're going to do in terms of trying to get baseball back on the ground and stuff. Our first priority is safety. We want our student athletes to be safety, but we do want to present a really good model where we can get them back on the field and start back doing something that, most kids came to college to do anyway, besides get their degree, and that's to have a successful college career on the field.
Sounds very good, my man, and thank you again for making yourself available. Congratulations, and we'll be talking real soon. All right, my man?
Okay, thank you, Mike. I appreciate it.
All right, Mike Robertson of the Texas Southern Tigers dropping in with us. Very nice of them. We're going to take us a break, and we'll come back with more of tonight's show from the Mike Prince Show live on the Open Mic Broadcast Network. Keep it where you got it. We'll be right back.
We'd like to recognize sponsors. Attorney Lee Van Richardson, located at 1047 Austin Street in Hempstead, Texas. Their phone number is 979-826-8008. Diva Skin Conditioner, located at divafeet.com, D-I-V-A-H feet.com. Their phone number, 903-270-0026. Prairie View Athletic Club, serving student athletes since 1986. Their phone number is 936-857-5817. Temple of Refuge Ministries, located in Prairie View, Texas, at 45372 Old Highway 290. Brazos Valley Schools Credit Union, several locations to serve you. Katy, Rosenberg, Brenham, Bryan, College Station, and Waller, Texas. Their phone numbers, toll free, 855-391-2149. If you or your business would like to be a part of the sponsorship team here at the Open Mic Broadcast Network, contact us at 832-213-8824.
You want answers? I think I'm entitled. You want answers? I want the truth! You can't handle the truth! I have a greater responsibility than you can possibly fathom. You don't want the truth because deep down in places you don't talk about at parties, you want me on that wall. You need me on that wall.
Join us for a daily episode of the Mike Prince Show right here at the Open Mic Broadcast Network.
It's the Open Mic with Dr. Mike. The OB Radio and the Mike Prince Show. The Open Mic Broadcast Network. The Open Mic Broadcast Network.
And welcome back to the Sunday Night Live. Had Coach Mike Robertson to join in with us. I got word we might have had a little technical glitch. But we got it all straightened out, I'm assuming. I hope you didn't miss much. But we were glad to hear from Coach Mike. Says you could hear me, couldn't hear the coach. I don't know how long you didn't hear the coach. Maybe you all can give me a little feedback and we'll make sure that everything is good. Hopefully all is well and all is fine. But sometimes that happens in live radio, but we will check out and see what the technical glitch was. But we do thank you for that. We do thank Coach for jumping in with us. For those of you who, I don't know where you may have missed and what part you didn't hear, maybe you guys that are listening can, give me, a guesstimation of how much you didn't hear. But we can kind of give you a summary or a recap. But to let it be known, he did get inducted into the 2020 Class Hall of Fame for Prairie View A&M University for his coaching experience. Talked about the addition of Cam Fields, who he acquired from the University of Texas, big arm to come and be a part of the staff. And actually, it was between him at Texas Southern, FAMU, and Southern University. So he was glad to win that out. Talked about the addition of FAMU and Bethune-Cookman coming to enhance the baseball experience from the Southwestern Athletic Conference. A whole lot that was going on, and I do apologize that you were not able to get some of that, but maybe we have to get him back to come back and get it in. But nonetheless, it is all there. Coach Mike Robertson, Texas Southern head baseball coach, and man, I cannot wait for the baseball to resume and pick itself up. It is part of I guess you can call it a power conference now. You got Florida, Arkansas, Mississippi, Texas, Louisiana. Am I forgetting a state? I said Alabama, whatever the 6 states are. You got the footprint to cover it and everything to take care of what needs to be taken care of. Now we need to do our parts as supporters. We need to do our part as media. We need to do our part as fans and make sure that the stories get told. If we make sure that the stories get told, then all else is going to take care of itself. And it starts at home. Charity starts at home. I don't have to tell you guys that do this even on a part-time basis, you know what it takes to put into it. And we need to make sure that the message is loud and clear. The message. You heard Coach Robertson talking about making the most out of a little bit. And I know if I had an open mic right now, there would be an amen section from people who do this, from people who participate on the backside of things. And we're not begging and asking for a handout. We just want to be recognized like everybody else, because the same efforts, the same research, the same resources that are needed to produce these shows, columns, blurbs, blogs, vlogs, whatever you want to call it, it costs. So do what you can to support your local HBCU media coverage. You know, we're talking about Black Lives Matter. Last I checked, black media was part of that Black Lives movement. So if we're going to be about it, let's be about it on the social part. Let's be about it on the business part. And that means sometimes you might have to pay a little bit more because we might have a little bit more overhead. Don't try to compare apples to oranges. If you got a big conglomerate that can do their thing, and because they're buying up everything and everyone, then they can say, well, we can do it for 10 cents and I got to charge you 15 cents. Then you tell me I'm too high. It's all about understanding how business works. And when we do that, I really do think that we can make some things happen, because that's what it's all about, making things happen. And speaking of making things happen, I'm going to take another break, and we're going to come back with more of our closing thoughts and comments and everything that needs to be going on here from the Open Mic Broadcast Network. You're listening to the Mike Prince Show Live. We keep it where you got it, and we will be right back.
Are you one of the many Americans that deal with the effects of diabetes? Diva Skin Conditioner could be the remedy that you need. Diva Skin Conditioner is a formulation that was designed with you in mind. Diva Skin Conditioner comes with a money-back guarantee. That's how confident they are in their product. For more information, visit divafeet.com. That's D-I-V-A-H, feet.com. Or you can speak with a representative by dialing 903-882-5228. 270-0026. This broadcast has been made possible by the support of the Prairie View Athletic Club. The Prairie View Athletic Club is a proud supporter of Prairie View A&M University athletics. For more information on becoming a member of the Prairie View Athletic Club, send your email to pvathletic.club@gmail.com. That email address again is pvathletic.club@gmail.com. Prairie View Athletic Club, a proud supporter of Prairie View A&M University athletics.
Let's face it, from time to time, we'll have a need for an attorney, whether it's the case of a DUI, DWI, or any other circumstances that would find you on the other side of the law. Attorney Lee Van Richardson, located at 1047 Austin Street, is the one to call. Attorney Lee Van Richardson and his staff are equipped to help you get through your legal battles. Attorney Lee Van Richardson, 979-826-8008 in Hempstead, Texas. Have sports, we'll travel. The Open Mic Broadcast Network serving student athletes from Little League, high school, and collegiate coverage right here on the Open Mic Broadcast Network. From coast to coast, from dusk till dawn. You can catch all student athletic action right here at the Open Mic Broadcast Network, the station designed with you in mind. Serving the community through faith and athletics, the Open Mic Broadcast Network, the voice of student athletics.
I present to you 3 of the fiercest subjects ever assembled in the cage of doom. First, the brain-wrenching behemoth, Algebra 2, weighing in at a mind-boggling 800 pounds. Foreign languages! The multilingual international sensation capable of tossing you clear across the Atlantic. And finally, biology. More ferocious than formaldehyde, she'll dissect you 1 chromosome at a time. Who among you will step up to their challenge?
Yeah, I'll do it. Me too. I'm in. Sign me up.
Take on the tough classes now. You need them to prepare for college. Find out which classes you need at knowhowtogo.org.
Brought to you by the American Council on Education, Lumina Foundation for Education, and the Ad Council.
Serving the community through faith and athletics. The Open Mic Broadcast Network.
And welcome back to the Mike Prince Show Live. Final segments, final moments of tonight's episode. I want to thank our special guest, Coach Mike Robertson. Big day on tomorrow. The presidents will be meeting to discuss will there or won't there be any fall sports. Some already have come to their decisions. We'll see what the dust settles look like. It's pretty challenging right now, but I've seen stranger things happen. Time will tell. I want to thank you guys for joining in with us on tonight. Don't forget, we come to you Monday through Friday, 10 a.m. Central Standard Time. Saturday mornings, 10 a.m. to 12 noon is the infamous Carlos Brown. We come back again at 6 p.m. Central Standard Time on Sunday evenings. Then, of course, we have Miss Sonia Stamps with She Say Sports. We have The Journey and a whole lot more. The clock on the wall tells me that is all, and I must exit stage left. I thank our sponsors on tonight, the Prairie View Athletic Club, Brazos Valley Schools Credit Union, Attorney Lee Van Richardson, Diva Skin Conditioner. We also want to thank the Temple of Refuge Ministries, Helping Hands Lawn Service, and we want to thank you, the listeners. Can't forget Miss Latanya at Farmers Insurance of Hempstead, Texas. I've got to go. My time is far spent. But until the next time, you guys be blessed, and we'll see you on the other side.